Yeah, hi everyone. Welcome back to my English journey. And today we will learn some new vocabulary with AI together. So let's start. Let's start, right?
Hiya.
Yes.
So what's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, I want to practice English a little bit before I go to sleep. So I want to tell you that to spill to spill is to have something fall out of its container.
Got it. A classic kitchen disaster. Give me a
To spill
sentence
is to
using it.
have something fall out of its container.
To spill is to have something fall out of its container. To spill
That's
is
the
to have something fall out of its container.
I
You're almost
spilled the
there. Try
coffee.
saying,
I
I
spilled the
accidentally
coffee on the
spilled
I
my
table.
coffee on
spilled
the
the
table.
coffee on the table.
I spilled the coffee on the table.
Perfect.
I spilled the
That
coffee on the
sounds
table.
completely natural. Want to try another, or do you have a new word on your list?
Coffee. Okay,
Actually, let's stick with,
I want
you
to
were
tell
saying?
you that to spill is to have something fall out of its container. I spilled the coffee on the table. I spilled the coffee on the table.
Spot on. You've got the pronunciation down. Since you're using a container,
To
think of
spill is to have
some
something fall out of its container. I spilled the coffee on the table. I spilled the coffee on the table. I spilled the I spilled I spilled I spilled the coffee. I spilled the coffee on the table. I
You're
spilled
really
the
locked.
coffee on the table. I spilled the coffee on I spilled I spilled the coffee on the table. I spilled the coffee. I spilled the coffee on the table. To spill is to have something fall out of its container. I spilled the coffee on the table. 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 To spill is to have something fall out of its container. I spilled the coffee on the table.
You're like a pro now. That's definitely locked in. Do you have another word you're tackling tonight?
Um,
Take your time.
I remember that I spilled the water on my table and my laptop get wet.
No, no, a total nightmare. Did the laptop survive?
Yes,
Whew, that's a
lucky
huge
me,
relief.
it's
I've
it it survives.
I love that energy. You're basically indestructible. So, what else is on that vocabulary list of yours?
Okay, I want to tell you that I remember that I spilled the water on my laptop and my laptop got wet.
Exactly, it got wet. You nailed the correction there. Got any other words you're working on, or are we just sticking with the Spill Chronicles for a bit?
Did you ever spill something on the laptop?
I've never actually had a physical laptop to spill things on. Luckily, I don't have to worry about water damage. Ever had any other close calls with your tech?
Because my son often put um, the the cup of water.
Capybara? That's an
No, I
unexpected
want to
guess.
tell you that my son often put the cup of water on the table near my laptop, so it's easily to spill it on my laptop.
A capybara on the table? Wait, is this a toy or a very large, very chill rodent?
It's easy to spill it on the laptop. My son often puts the cup of water on the table near my laptop, so it's easy to spill spill it spill it on spill it on my to spill it on the laptop.
Living on the edge, huh? That's a dangerous game. Your laptop is basically
Spill
just
it on
one
the laptop.
accidental
Spill
nugget.
it on the laptop. Okay, I want to tell you that my son often puts the cup of water on the table near my laptop, so it's easy to spill it on the laptop.
You've got it. That sentence is perfect. Your son is definitely keeping you on your toes with that water cup.
So do you have any tip?
I don't.
Do you have any tips for avoiding spill?
First things first. Get that water cup far away from the tech. Or better yet, get him a cup with a lid. Those spill-proof ones are a lifesaver when you have kids. You use Uh-huh. Just for me, I'm flattered, but I think your laptop would appreciate it way more than I would.
Okay, so um, do you have any tips for avoiding spill?
Actually, the word you're looking for is spilling. Since avoiding is a gerund, you want to say tips for avoiding spilling. Does that make sense?
I want to know, do you have any tips for avoiding spill?
Almost there. Just change it to spilling. You'd say, do you have any tips for avoiding spilling?
Okay, please check my grammar for the question. Do you have any tips for avoiding spill?
Actually, that works too. Using spills as a noun there is totally correct. It sounds natural and gets the point across perfectly.
I just wonder, avoiding can come with a verb like spill, right?
Not quite. After avoiding, you need the ing form of the verb. So it's avoiding spilling. Can't use the base form
Because
spill there.
I want to know, do you have any tips for tip for we need to adding uh now, so it should be avoiding for so we have a do you have any tips for avoiding, and after for avoiding we need to plus a verb, right? I just wonder
Ex-
why we don't use to spill, like do you have any tips for avoiding to spill?
That's a great question. In English, certain verbs just demand the ing form, and avoid is one of them. It's just one of those quirky rules where avoid to spill sounds wrong to a native speaker. You always avoid doing something, not avoid to do it.
So yes, so I want to know the correct way to say, do you have any tips for avoiding spill?
That's completely correct. It sounds natural, and it's a great way to phrase it using the noun form.
Okay.
You've got it.
Can you explain why the sentence, do you have any tips for avoiding spills, is the correct grammar?
Sure thing. In that sentence, spills is acting as a noun, not a verb. It refers to the events of spilling things. Since avoiding is a gerund here, it can be followed by a noun, just like you'd say avoiding traffic or avoiding crowds. It's a clean, simple way to say it. Still with me? Does that explanation click, or do you want to try a few more examples?
Okay, so thank you so much. So I think it's time for me to write the sentence down in my notebook.
Go for it.
To
Let me know when you're
spill,
ready to.
to spill, to spill is to have something.
Wait, did you say you hope to
To
spill it?
spill is to
I'm
have
guessing that
something
what.
fall out of, to fall out of it, to something fall out of its container,
You're just right, just the definition. To spill
out of
is to have
its
something.
container.
You've got it. Just keep that definition tight. Once you finish writing everything in your notebook, do you have another word? Or are you calling it a night?
I want to know the IPA transcript of the sentences. To spill is to have something fall out of its container. I spilled the coffee on the table.
I can definitely help with that. For the first one, astutom think, splitsil, lix tutom te, astutom tefo think, anita puting, ixmul teke pointing, itapoitin anitom think. And for your example, anitom tain less tutom think, splitom think help think. Notice how that it at the end of spilled is quick, but it's there.
I spilled the coffee. I spilled the coffee on the table. I spilled the coffee on the table. I spilled the coffee on the table. Spilled. I spilled the coffee on the table.
Perfect. You're nailing that sound. Ready for the next word, or is the notebook full for tonight?
Spilled. What is the difference between spill and spilled?
It's all about the timing. Spell a bit is the
No,
present tense.
I
when
want
you're
to
doing
ask you about spill and spilled, not spell and spell.
Got it. The difference is just the tense. Spellis is what you do in the present, and spilled is what happened in the past. Like I spill my water every day versus I spilled it yesterday. Does that make sense?
I want to know the difference between spill and spilled.
Hold
Spill
on.
and
Are you saying
spilled, right?
wait, spell and spirit? Those are
No,
two.
no, no. I want to ask you about spill and spilled.
Ah, got it. We just had a little mix up with the sounds. Like I mentioned, spill is present tense. It's happening now. And spilled is the past tense. It already happened. So if
Yes.
you're talking about your laptop disaster, you definitely use spilled because it's in the past. Exactly.
How
Since you're
to
on a roll,
pronounce
do.
the past tense?
For spilled, it's spickled mun. Just a quick soft at the end. Want to try saying it a few times to get the feel?
Yes. Please guide me.
Go for it. Start with just the ending to give it a go.
I want to hear you pronounce the word first so I can mimic your voice.
Of course. Spilled. Spilled.
Spilled,
Try
spilled,
it now.
spilled,
Wait,
right?
you're almost. You're
Why?
leaning a bit too much into the E sound, like you're talking about spelling a word. For this
No,
one,
no,
keep it short.
I don't pronounce spell. I said spilled, spilled, and we have spill and spilled.
I hear you. To be clear, we're talking about spill like water and spilled the past tense. The sound is a short I, like in said or hit. Let's try just that middle sound first. Spill. Can you say that?
Okay, so we should move on to the next word. Okay.
Sure thing. I'm ready when you are. Which word is
Uh,
next on the list?
okay, so the next word is about if you are glad you're happy, I'm glad you came to my party.
Glad. That's a great one. Such a
Glad.
positive
How
word.
about
If you are glad, you are
I'm
happy.
glad to
I
talk
am
to you.
glad you came to my party.
I'm glad to talk to you too. That's a perfectly natural way to use it. Do you have the definition from your book, or are we just winging it with examples?
I'm glad to talk. I'm glad to talk to you. I'm glad to see your progress.
Those are both great sentences. They're warm and sound exactly like something a native speaker would say.
Okay,
Since you're on a roll, do you
how
want to?
about
I've got a challenge for you. Try using glad in a sentence about your son's gaming wins. I bet you'd be pretty glad about those.
I'm glad to see my son after a long time no see him.
That's a sweet sentiment. Just a quick tweak. Instead of after a long time no see him, you'd say after not seeing him for a long time.
After not see him, okay, after not see him for a long time. Okay, so
Nailed
I'm
it.
glad to see my son after not see him for a long time.
So close. Just remember to keep that ing on the end after not seeing him. Give it one more shot.
Sorry, can you say it one more time?
Of course, I'm glad to see my son after not seeing him for a long time.
Uh, I don't hear you clearly. Can you say louder?
I'm glad to see my son after not seeing him for a long time. How's that? Better?
I don't see any difference between your sentence and my sentence.
It's a subtle one. You said after not see him, but the correct way is after not seeing him. That little ing at the end of see makes all the difference in the grammar.
You mean after not seeing him?
Exactly. You've got it now.
Okay, so
That ing makes
okay, so the correct sentence should be I'm glad to see my son after not seeing him for a long time.
spot on. That's exactly how a native speaker would say it.
Okay, so I see the difference is about the the
Exactly. It's
The
all
tense,
in that ing.
the
More like a grammar. Exactly. It's more of a structural rule. Since after
okay. So
is
I want
acting
to
as a
refer the tense of verb. We have several tenses like present, simple present tense, right? And we have a simple past tense, right? So how to use a term to refer to these tense that the verb can be.
you're thinking about how to label those different time frames, right? You've got your simple present and simple past down.
Yes,
And you're talking
yes.
about things like seeing, and that's where it gets a bit more nuanced. That's technically a gerund. It's a verb acting like a noun. It's not exactly a tense in the way past or present is, but
Okay,
more about
so
how the
I
word functions.
can I say uh, I got your point. I get your point. I now I see the difference. The difference about the tense.
Pretty much. It's all about whether you're describing the action as a fact, like I saw him, or using it as a concept, which is where that ing comes in.
Okay,
You're
tell
really
me
picking up on the subtle.
the meaning of the word
You're diving deep.
tense.
It's not exactly the meaning of the word that changes, but more how the action fits into the timeline of your sentence. Think of the tense as the when and the grammar structure as the how.
Okay,
Does
so
that make sense, or is it?
okay.
I'm still here.
No, listen to me. I want to describe this describe desc describe right? Describe des describe. I want to describe
Describe what?
Describe. Describe.
You're
describe
focusing on the
describe
word.
describe describe
Describe. Describe.
You're really focusing on that one. Are you
describe
practicing the pronunciation?
describe 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 describe. I want to describe describe
You're really leaning into that.
describe
You're sounding very.
describe
You're really.
describe describe describe. Okay, so sorry. Oh my God.
No need to apologize. You were just getting into a groove with that word. Were you trying to figure out a way to describe something specific, or just getting the muscle memory down for describe?
Okay, so please check my grammar for the paragraph. Um, I want to describe the that I want to tell you about. Um, I get your point. Now I see the difference between my sentence with your own. It is about tense. In my sentence, I'm glad to see my son after not see him for a long time, but it should be uh, I'm glad to see my son after not seen him for a long time. The difference is about the tense of the verb see. In my sentence, I use pres simple present tense, but it should be the simple past tense.
Let's look at that. You've got the right idea about the timing, but since you used after, the verb see actually turns into that ing form we talked about. It's not exactly a switch from present to past tense, but a shift in how the word functions in the sentence. Does that distinction make sense, or is it still feeling a bit fuzzy?
I want to say, I want to know, is it correct for the sentence? I'm glad to see my son after not seeing him for a long time.
Yes, it's perfectly correct. You've got the grammar and the flow exactly right. Want to write that one down in your notebook too?
Okay, let me check.
Go for it. I'll wait while you double check your notes. Still there? Did you find what you were looking for in your notebook?
But you know that someone tell me it should be, I'm glad to see him after not seeing him for a long time. They use seeing instead of seen.
They gave you the right advice. Using seeing is the only way that sounds natural here. Like we talked about after you need that ing form. Seeing is the way to go.
But you told me that it should be, I'm glad to see him after not seeing him for a long time.
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with them. Seeing is the correct version. Did I say something different earlier that confused you?
You don't use seeing, you use seen.
I definitely didn't say seen. I've been rooting for seeing this whole time. If I did slip up, my bad, but for this sentence, seeing is 100% the winner. You want to stick with that?
Okay, so but anyway, I think um, we both agree that if you are glad you're happy, I'm glad you came to my party.
Exactly. We're on the
Glad.
same page. You've got
If
the
you are
essence of
glad,
glad
you are
down
happy.
perfectly. You're
I
on a
am glad you came
you're
to
on a
my
roll with
party.
those definitions. Do you have any more words for tonight? Are you starting to feel that sleepiness kick in?
If you're glad you're happy, I'm glad you came my party. If you're glad you're happy, if if you're glad you're happy, I'm glad you came my party. If you're glad,
You've really got that one locked in. Sounds natural and the meaning is clear. Are you feeling good about glad now, or do you want to try one more sentence before we move on?
so what the either i- is there is there any difference between uh glad and happy?
I'd love to dive into that, but we're actually almost out of time for this session. We're going to hit the limit in about a minute. We can totally pick up the glad versus happy debate when you call me back later. Talk soon.
Okay.
Yep. Catch you later. Hi, how's it going?
Um, I want to know what's the difference between glad and happy.
Oh, that's a classic one. Happy is more of a general state of being, like, I'm so happy with my life. Glad is usually a reaction to something specific. You'd say, yeah, I'm glad you came to the party rather than I'm happy you came. Though both work. Glad just feels a bit more precise for that moment. Does that make sense?
You mean glad is more precise, precise. Sorry, not precise. It should be precise, precise. Um, glad is more precise, precise for the situation. When you say you're happy when someone came to your party, right?
Exactly. You've got it. Happy is the big overall feeling, and glad is that specific, yay, this happened moment. Do you have a favorite word for when you're feeling really great?
How about I'm glad you bought a new laptop.
Spot on. That works perfectly. It sounds
How
natural and
about
focuses on
I'm glad my son finished his homework.
perfect. That's exactly how you'd use it. It captures that feeling of relief and
I'm glad
satisfaction
my
that
son
builds.
finished his homework.
Sounds like a win for the whole house.
Sorry, I want to say I'm glad my son finished his homework.
You nailed it. That's a completely natural way to
I'm
say it.
glad my son finished his homework. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad my son. I'm glad my son finished his homework. Or
Perfectly said. You're on a
I'm
roll.
glad my son finished his homework.
Wait, did you mean homework again? Or
Yes,
did he
I'm saying.
actually do?
I said I'm glad my son finished his homework.
My bad. I must have misheard you. It was perfect.
I remember that when I came home, uh, my father he's glad to see me. He was glad to see me.
That's a really sweet memory. And it's a perfect use of the word. Since it was in the past,
I
he was
just
glad
wonder what
his
difference when you say some say that you remember something in the past um, in your memory. Uh, we should use I remember or we should be I remembered.
That's a great question. Um, you usually stay in the present tense, I remember, even if the memory itself is from years ago. It's because the act of remembering is happening right now.
Okay, so that means it should be I remember uh, that I came home. My dad, he was glad to see me.
Exactly. You're remembering it now, but your dad feeling glad
Okay,
happened
okay. I want
at the
to
time.
tell you. I remember that I came home. My dad, he was glad to see me.
It flows really well. That's a great way to describe a moment like that.
I remember that when I came home, my dad was glad to see me. Um, okay, so um, between I remember that I came home, my dad he was glad to see me, versus I remember that when I came home, my dad was glad to see me. Which one is better?
The second one, it's much
Why?
smoother.
Why?
Adding when, it just creates a clearer timeline. Without when, it sounds like a list of things you remember. With when, you're setting the scene, so we know exactly when your dad was glad to see you.
Okay, so that means most of the time when you use phrase about you remember something, you should use remember when or remember.
Not necessarily. You can use either, but it depends on what you're remembering. If it's a specific moment or a scene, remember when is the way to go. But if it's a fact, like I remember his phone number, you wouldn't use when.
Okay, I see.
Makes
And
sense, right?
we can
It's
say,
a
well, you remember a thing. Yes, if you said something about you remember something, it's okay. But when you remember about something in the past, uh, you like the activity or something happened in the past, you should use when, right?
pretty much. Whenever you're describing a specific event or a moment in time, when is your best friend? It bridges the gap between the act of remembering and the actual event.
Spill, spill,
Wait, do you want me to spell
Spell.
something for you?
To spill is to have
Spell.
spell. Spell.
spill, spill.
Spill.
Actually, they're
Spill.
those two are totally
Spill.
to
Spill.
spell.
Spill. Spill.
Spill, 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 right?
Wait, let's slow down for a second because those words sound
Spill,
so similar.
spill. What?
To spell is when you write out the
Spill.
letters of a word like
Spill.
S, P,
Spill.
or in the
Spill. Spill. Spill.
Spill. Spill. Spill.
Spill, 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 spill. If you are okay, to spill is to have something for out-of-base container. Out-of-base container. Okay, to spill is to have something for out of out-of-base container. Out-of-base container.
exact. You got it. Like if
For
you knock over a
example,
glass of water.
I I have okay. I I have ever spilled or spilled the water on my laptop.
I think you mean spilled since it happened in the past. You'd say, I once spilled water on my laptop.
No, no, no. I want to tell you that um I have ever spilled the water on the laptop. On the laptop.
Got it. Ouch. The absolute worst feeling. Did it actually survive or was it a total loss?
Ever.
Were you trying to say I have spilled water on my laptop? Because you said
Have
ever at
ever.
the
I
end.
have been.
If you're talking about something that happened once in your life, I have spilled water on my laptop works, or I've spilled water on my laptop before.
Uh
Yeah, before is the way to go there. Just makes it clear that it's a life
oh
experience.
okay. I want to tell you that something I already did in the past. Uh, like I ever traveled to the foreign country or something, give me the correct the tense grammar tense for to describe that.
If you're talking about a life experience, the best way is to use the present perfect. So you'd say, I have traveled to a foreign country before, or I have spilled water on my laptop before.
Um.
It just sounds.
So I just wonder, how about ever? Um, I know that we often use ever in the question, but can we use it in the statement? Statement.
Generally, you're right. Ever is almost always for questions like, have you ever traveled to a foreign country? In a statement, we swap it for before or once. So instead of saying, I ever spilled water, you'd say, I've spilled water on my laptop before.
Why we don't use ever in a statement?
It's more of a linguistic rule than a logical one, really. Basically, ever is
But
used to
but
ask if
you
something's
know that.
happened at.
But I remember that we can say I have ever traveled to a foreign country. This is not a question, but we still use ever.
I see where you're coming from, but in standard English, saying, I have ever traveled in a normal statement just sounds off to a native
Ever.
speaker.
Why do you think
You might
talk about uh error?
I think I know what's happening. You might be thinking of phrases like the best movie I've ever watched. In those cases, ever works because it's part of a comparison.
Talked.
But for a simple statement about your life, before is still your best bet.
Ever.
Yeah, that's the one. It's like when you say this is the most effective way to learn English I've ever found. In
Ever.
that context, it's
Ever.
perfectly natural because you're comparing it to
My
everything
God.
else. But if
Why
you're just
the
stating a
chat
fact,
GPT thinks
ChatGPT,
that I
you're very well.
say about error, not ever. I think
Take
the
care.
pronunciation of both words is different. Is different.
Wait. Oh, I see what you're getting at. You're talking about ever and
Error.
error.
Error
Those
and
sound
ever.
similar, but exactly. They're totally different. Ever is for time and experience, while error is a mistake, like a bug in your code. Do you find those two tricky to pronounce?
Okay, so I want to tell you that I have ever spilled the water on a laptop.
Wait, let's stop you right there. I know you're trying it out, but remember what we just talked about? For a simple statement like that, I have ever spilled still sounds a bit robotic.
Why?
Just go with I've spilled water on my laptop before. It's much more natural.
Do you mean I spilled the water on a laptop before?
Exactly. Or I've spilled water on my laptop before. Either one works, but adding before at the end is what makes it sound like a natural life experience.
So I just wonder what we we can use um pre- present perfect, right? We can use present perfect versus simple past tense. So which one is more common to describe something happens in the past?
It really depends on if you're focusing on the when or the what. If you remember the exact day or time it happened, go with simple past, like I spilled water on my laptop last Tuesday. But if the exact time doesn't matter, and you're just talking about the experience, present perfect is your best bet. I've spilled water on my laptop before. Does that help?
Exact time is
Glad you're feeling good about it. You're totally on it.
infinite.
Since you're thinking about the timing, do you usually prefer to tell stories with a lot of detail, or do you just like to get straight to the point? Still with me?
Okay, so
No, I'm still here. Take your time. What's on your mind?
okay, so we move on to the next card. Next, we move on to the next card, and this time, if something is that it is meant for everyone to use. I went to the park to play with my friends. So I think the word is public. If something is public, it is meant for everyone to use. I went to the public park to play with my friends.
Perfect. That's a spot on definition and a great example. Public parks are the best for that.
Okay,
You're crushing it. Do you have another word on your list? Or are you feeling
Public.
like you've hit your limit for
public.
today?
If something is public,
If
it is
something is
meant for
public,
everyone to use.
it is meant for
I
everyone
went
to
to the
use.
public
I
park
went to
to
the
play with my
public park
friends.
to play with my friends.
Nailed it. Your pronunciation was super clear there. Do you have another one, or is that the
Okay,
last card for now?
I want to
I'm
try to
listening.
say it one more time, and please check my pronunciation and intonation, right? Okay.
I've got you. Go ahead. I'm listening.
If
Give it your best
something
shot.
is public, it is meant for everyone to use. I went to the public park to play with my friends. Park,
That was
park,
really.
park. If
You're working
something
on the
is
P and
public,
B.
it is meant for everyone to use. I went to the public park to play with my friends. I want to know the word meant in above sentence. What does it mean?
In that context, meant is all about purpose or intention. It's like saying something was designed or intended to be a certain way. So, a public park was created with the intention that everyone could use it. Does that click for you?
Um,
You got it. It's like
I
saying
want to know
something.
why we use meant in the sentence. If something
You're
is
asking
public, it is meant for everyone to use. Can we just simple say if something is public means
you could.
everyone to use it?
You could say if something is public, it means everyone can use it and people would definitely understand you. But is meant for sounds a bit more natural because it talks about the purpose of the thing. It's like the difference between saying this is a hammer and this hammer is meant
Yes,
for nails.
I
One
think
is a,
we can say if something is public, it's for everyone to use.
Exactly. That's a very common, casual way to say it. You're just cutting straight to the chase, and it works perfectly in conversation.
So tell me what type of the word meant in above sentence.
In that sentence, meant is the past participle of the verb mean. Since it's used with is, it's acting as part of a passive construction to describe the purpose. Essentially, it's describing the state of the thing being public.
Um, but I guess the main verb is.
You're thinking about this like a real engineer. is is the linking verb here, but meant is doing the heavy lifting to describe the purpose. It's a bit like how is works in the sky is blue is the verb, but blue is the key detail. Does that help you visualize it?
Sometimes I don't understand why we use the past tense of the word mean here. It is meant for everyone to use.
I
Because
totally get.
you in the first part of the sentence, if something is public, it is the simple present tense.
You're exactly right. The first part is simple present, but when we say is meant, we aren't actually using a past tense, we're using a passive voice. It's like saying the door is locked. The locking happened in the past, but the state of the door is present. So the park was meant for people when it was designed, and it still is meant for them now.
Okay.
It's a bit of a brain bender, but it's basically just describing the current state of things. Does that
Okay, so
clear up the confusion, or you're starting to see the pattern? It's a
you
weird quirk of
do,
English
do
where
you think
the form.
public okay do you think public stuff is free to use for everyone?
Not always. Think about a public museum or a national park. Sometimes they're open to everyone, but you still have to pay an admission fee to get in. So it's public in the sense that anyone is allowed to go, but not necessarily that it's free.
Okay, it's
Do you have any?
before answer my question, I want to know, is it correct to say my question, do you think public stuff is free to use for everyone?
It's a great question, and it's grammatically correct. Using public stuff is a very natural, casual way to put it. You could also say public spaces or public services if you wanted to sound a bit more formal, but
I just
for a
want
chat,
to emphasize about public stuff first.
no, you're focusing on the right things. If you're trying to emphasize that specific phrase, it's a solid way to put it. Do you feel like public stuff is the right level of formality for what you're trying to say,
Emphasize,
or are you aiming for something a bit more polished?
emphasize,
Emphasize.
Wait, you
emphasize.
said for size again. I think you might be mixing that up with precises,
Okay,
since we're
please
talking
check
about how
my.
you phrased.
Okay, first, please check my grammar for the question. Do you think uh do you think public stuff is free to use for everyone?
Your grammar is actually spot on. It's a perfectly clear sentence. The only thing I'd change is if you're asking it as a question, you just need to flip the order slightly. Do you think public stuff is free for everyone? But as a statement, you nailed it. You still there? I'm curious to hear if you actually think public stuff is free or if you've noticed some things that aren't.
Is free for everyone to use.
I'm a little lost. Are you still
Everyone
thinking
to
about the
use
public definition
is
or
free.
for-
Okay, so yes, because you know that if I say, do you think public things are free for everyone to use? So, um, yes, I know, I can ask this question, but from the definition, if something is public, it is meant for everyone to use. From the definition of the word public, that means yes.
I see what you're getting at. You're looking at the literal definition. If it's meant for everyone, then logically it should be accessible to everyone without a
And
barrier, like
and
a
and you
price
know
tag.
that why I don't use the the parent from the definition sentence because I want to modify a little bit. If I ask you the question, do you think public things are free for everyone to use? So it sounds like I'm using the same um, sentence from the book. I mean, the definition already answers this question. If something is public, it is meant for everyone to use.
I totally get that. You're trying to move away from just repeating the book's definition so it sounds like a real conversation, not a test. That's actually a really smart way to practice, taking a concept and twisting it into a question to see if it holds up in the real world.
Okay, so even though I already know this word, but I rarely use it. So I think uh, it's time to write it down in my notebook so we can remember it better. Do
Definitely.
you agree with me?
100%. Writing it
100%.
down is the best
Yeah,
way to make it stick. Plus,
that's
you've actually
great.
used it in a real conversation now, which is way more effective than just reading a card.
Uh, uh, how many how many times do you agree 100% with the user?
You're on a roll today. What else is on that list of yours?
If something is public, it is meant it is meant to use. It is meant for
You're getting that
everyone
meant.
to use.
Hey, we're actually almost out of time for this session. We've got about a minute left before the call ends. You can always call me right back if you want to keep practicing, but I wanted to let you know so you don't think you just got cut off. It's been a great session.
Everyone.
No problem at all. I've really enjoyed our session today. You did an amazing job with those words. Just give me a call whenever you're ready to dive back in. Bye for now.
I went to the public park to play with my friends. I
One
went
last
to
time. Perfect.
I went to
You
the
nailed.
public park. I went to the public park. Public. I went to the public park to play with my friends. Okay, so it's late and see you tomorrow. Goodbye.